Right, it's Richard here. You know me by now, don't you? Yeah. So, I have planned a little video upon alien encounters, or in this case, an alien trial or two. So, um, I'll get right into it because I'm not a fan of small talk. This first instance of seeing an unusual object in the sky behaving irregularly was as I was washing my dishes, my sink one day. And as I was washing the dishes, I noticed it was for all intents and purposes, it was a plane. It looked like a plane with, the jet fuel behind it, trail left by a plane. But I noticed it started to zigzag a little bit and then into a cloud. And after it emerged from the cloud, it started to dwindle downwards like this. There's plenty of aerial devices these days that could fit the description of a faulty drone, a weather balloon, things like that, right? Right. But uh, what would they have done in caveman era? What would they have done in Victorian era? What would they have done at any other time when we're not glued to our screens, we're stuck indoors? Um, or just concentrated and distracted by modern living condition in vehicles, in our rooms, whatever. There's too much going on. A single strange event like that, people will just glaze over it. And I was one of those people that day. I thought hours after it, probably should have gone and seen if there was any residue of um, anything at all. Even if it was just a weather balloon, I wanted to check it out. And I felt that brief melancholy sadness that I did not go out and see what it was. But guess what? Life gave me another opportunity. This this time, I was also doing the dishes. I went out this time and noticed on my watch it was 11:11. I thought, hey, angel number, pretty decent angel number, pretty common one for good luck. And what happened then? I followed this trail, which was an irregular plane. Um, it looked like a plane just with the trail of gas, but it did zigzags. And it went straight into a cloud this and disappeared by the looks of it. As I was walking down the road beside the seaside, this is where it starts to get interesting, right? I'm confronted with, well, from the cloud, nothing. The craft did not emerge from the cloud. The cloud moved more, disappeared, no more object that went into it. I checked, trust me, my eye was on that. First thought on it, invisibility or camouflage, something like that. Something easy for them to do, you know, just disappear like that. So I was thinking, alien, no way. It's like, this has gotta be it. This has gotta be it. You know, um, I've got to have an encounter of some description at some point again. And uh, so I was walking along beside the sea, and I saw in the clouds a heart-shaped hole, just like this heart-shaped hole in the cloud. And I thought, I'm on to something. Then I saw in a puddle, and this isn't, these aren't the heart hole in the cloud I take as a lucky coincidence, or a coincidence that means something to me, a synchronicity. So my mind's in synchronicity mode, not in full blown psychosis mode where I think everything means everything, or overload, sensory overload with regards to stuff. But the first thing I notice in the puddle is an empty gas canister. I think, well, what I mean, it's got battery. So I threw my vape into a old quarry, and I took off my cheap smartwatch and just threw it on the pavement. It was a cheap smartwatch, by the way. It was one from Wish. Could have been more than a couple of quid. And all I had left on me that was metal was my keys, and that had a battery was my phone. And I decided I was going to leave the phone at the wayside, somewhere safe, maybe under a rock or on top of a wall where no one else is about, should this turn into a UFO event. So back to the cloud, which was pretty interesting, the formation of it. Once I passed a band of trees that stretched for a long time and allowed me to clear my pockets, clear my mind, meditate, feel if there's any energies about that I'm quite sensitive to. There didn't seem to be, but after a period of trees, I looked over and there was a specific shape. And it was like an arch with a small knoll. So like a small knoll like this, at the bottom, and then up and square like that. And that was the shape the heart had turned into. Now, at the back of my head, I was thinking, this is bound for the castle. This is bound for the castle ruins at the beach. And without much more signage or things to discard, really, I bought myself, I think it was, it was a few quid to get into the castle. It's a historical castle, and or ruin of a castle. It's a good spot for sightseers and tourists and stuff like that. So, went in, left my phone just before you go into the castle, and who was there in the castle but an old friend? That's all there was. And it was somebody that I resonated with in a men's mental health group, actually. It was somebody with high functioning Asperger's that was really taking taking the mental health battle on strong. As far as I could see, by doing such a social job as being a guide for people on local attractions like this. Not like this, specifically this. And we got into a good long conversation. And I said to myself, now the heart makes sense. And as I looked over, the window in this castle, or it was a window, no, it wasn't a window or whatever, it was a big hole in the wall that was this shape. Square, down, and then a knoll at the bottom. I was floored by that, as floored as one could be. I ran back, said, I left something to get here. I had to get a photo on my phone of me with my hands on the knoll. Of course, this is after ecstatically viewing the sky and seeing if there was going to be a craft. If there was going to be a craft, I wanted to see it. If it was hiding in a cloud, shaped like a craft, I wanted to see. I wanted to see it all, man. This was a minor proof to me that there was something to this, and that's exactly what a synchronicity is. Do I believe there was the thing? So I won't even ask myself. I'll give you all a checklist of what I believe this is. First one, the plane going into the cloud and disappearing. Obviously not a plane, right? Second of all, the heart shape in the cloud obviously is not common but not uncommon. In this context, a meaningful coincidence and synchronicity. Same big time with the second shape on the window. So the heart probably referenced my friend, and the gap probably referenced the window. And I got a photo with my old friend, and I got a photo of me with my husband-in-law. I think I did pretty well for this initiation because it paid off, and that's for another video. But this was one of those cool times when I definitely felt I had a dialogue of silence and understanding with a, a race that was able to make a craft that zigzagged into the clouds, changed the clouds, brought me to an old friend, reminded me this is still a friendly planet. You still have friends, Richard. You're not completely alone here. You're not the only alien here. You know, it was a touching event more than anything. And many things that I've read or experienced with aliens have been remarkably touching. A lot of them seem to be very, very, very soulful, gentle creatures, much more so than humans. Much more so. So that's my little video on the time I accepted the second invitation to follow an alien craft. As much of a mouthful as that is what that video was about. Goodbye. Until next time, folks.